Okay, so I'll do this. Okay, first of all, let's say KPIs for me. It's a community, right? So there's more people like me that are working in this community. For me, there's maybe 3 don't come to me, first of all, which is more important. If you're not optimistic, okay, as a characteristic, I'm not the person to work with.
Welcome to our series entitled the IAM Podcast, a podcast about innovation, business, and most importantly, people. In this series, we'll be talking to founders, executives, and various experts about their vision, challenges, best practices, and lessons learned throughout their journey. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. I am very excited. Welcome to another episode of the IAM Podcast. Today, we have the founder at M51 Entrepreneur Labs, Israeli tech investor, entrepreneur, Ronen Menipaz. Hello, Ronen.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very excited. Finally, how about you?
I'm great. I love the ambience of the tree behind you, or like it's like it calms things down. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm all yours.
Yes. Okay, so for those who don't know you, but I know you, a lot of people know you, I'd love you to give us a brief background of your expertise, your experience, and your passion. Who's Ronen?
Hey, so I am as metaphorically speaking, a conductor of symphonies. My skill is just, being the idiot with the stick. But everybody, at the end of the day, someone needs to organize all the different egos of talents that's there, and that's how it means I'm usually the entrepreneur that manages entrepreneurs. So what I am is a stubborn person who couldn't get a job and got thrown out of every high school, and as a need, I needed to make myself places to work at, and solve my own problems. And I failed enough to make it methodic. And I feel now that I'm like in my microcosmos like a god, because my superpower now is if there's something that I want to do and I can imagine it, I can probably do it. And if you want to actually challenge me to that, the thing that I hate most is someone says, you can't do that. And I promise you, if I still have health and no time, I'll do it just out of spite, because I really believe that the world now is making things complicated that are simple, and I'm not unique. And I really think that this decentralization as a concept is easier than blockchain. And I really think that people have to work 51% more than any competitor, and they'll be fine. And at the end of the day, everybody has a superpower as a characteristic. Someone needs to tell them that so they believe in it. And what I do is I invest actively, not passively, and I work with incredibly talented rock stars and annoying people exactly like me, head stubborn, believe in themselves. And these are the employees. So they don't have a platform to work in that organizes them and gives that kind of structure, where I say we're the steroids to DNA, and I have the luxury of giving them what I wished I had, and I would have less pains. And I'm so happy to have just even a few of them, or those companies, and showing them that they can scale. They don't have to exit, and they don't have to fight, and challenging that and getting better and more mature, I hope. But in right now, it's a great run, and I just hope it continues and we're doing our job.
Yes. Okay. Why? I mean, why are you helping entrepreneurs? Do you think there's a problem with how they are formulating their ideas or their value proposition? What's wrong, or where's the need?
So it's very simple. First of all, I'm doing it for profits. Why? These are the best HR that people miss out in the whole world. Okay. If you know how to solve some very difficult issues in a corporate world, and I know this because I am one of those difficult people, not in a sense that I'm difficult or like annoying, but it's a different kind of animal. There are farmers, there's hunters, there's different kind of skill sets. These people, if you know how to work with, they are world changers. They are innovators. And I say this world, it could be a micro world. Like, I haven't solved the hunger in Africa. Like, no one's trying to say that, but they challenge things. And without these innovators, okay, without these challenges of business, competition doesn't get better. Products don't get better. Things don't get better. And if there's no annoying person to say there's not one way to do that, there wouldn't be a Gucci, there wouldn't be a Walmart, because everybody would do the economics of the average and everybody would be average. So these people are, first of all, because it's interesting for me, because it's fun for me, because I feel their pain, and it was a pain in the ass to fail so much and to learn the hardware where no one, in my opinion, they only believed in me very later, okay? And to be that is something that makes me emotional each time. So it's for me. And it's very profitable if it succeeds. So far, so good. And on the other sense, it gives me a sense of value, because on Maslow, once you pass the sense of survival mode, you always look for what's your impact. So I feel that impact, because I feel that I know that impact, and it proves to myself that that's the only way I could see in the mirror that I built something that is a job. Because if I go say my CV, you would say, okay, this what exact, who you did this and that, but what? And so that explains to me, and I'm getting feedback that I still have that godly magic. That's it. So it's for me, and I hope it impacts well for others.
Yeah, okay. So I'm curious, like you said, yes, you talk with founders, innovators, entrepreneurs. So they're the brightest. So what is the most difficult conversation you have ever been to?
Oh, okay. So you know how you're little and your dad says, after sports, you have to stretch. You're like, Dad, come on. Okay. And I don't know how old you are, but I am in the age where that would be really smart. It really helped me now on the long term. Okay. Feeling like a douche older person saying things that are so true, knowing that I would not understand it then, and letting go and being passive and seeing those mistakes being made, because there's no other way, and I tried it differently. And entrepreneurs, you have to understand, they don't do it, they think they do it for the money, but that means they have no idea. They do it for a lot more than that, okay? Like a lot more. There's people who don't know they're even entrepreneurs. They do it for a lot more, and what makes them tick. So if you take around their freedom and creativity, like a Mustang horse, if you tell them what to do, okay, this is the exact opposite of what's happening. So when you invest in them, you have to understand, okay, if you take them in the maturity level where things, how it simulates and comes out just because you were there, okay, and you don't control it, okay, you have to take the buffer of that mistake and everything and sit beside. And this, I'm actually thanking my dad, because I only appreciated it really late in life. The hardest thing to do when I have children, if my kid is has a tantrum, you just have to be there and not solve his problem. And that is the most difficult thing to do, because you look like you don't care, right? You don't want to, okay? And it's also your money, and it's also your name, and it's also your stuff. But you have to fight it through if you believe in these people. And being passive is crazy hard. I'm getting much better at it. But for me, as a problem solver and an empowerer, it's the weirdest feeling, okay? Because I don't mind about credit. That's not the problem. The problem is physically just not doing a mistake, like a big one, like getting in a party, selling a company, I don't know, whatever. And believing that they will notice on the marathon that it's not that you didn't care, you did it for them without saying it. For me, that was the hardest thing ever to do. And it's sort of saying 50-50, or appreciates it or sees you as a dick. But anything else you do, exactly like my father, would actually not work, and it would blow up in your face, or you would act like you're helping and doing it, and then you're just doing a journey that's not honest. And for me, that was a really big challenge. Like those are really hard discussions for me.
Okay. By the way, how many entrepreneurs are you helping with? How are you helping right now?
Okay, helping not, because I'm saying this, how am I working from and making money and helping them succeed? I do have nonprofit organizations with entrepreneurs. That's fine. I said that, but it's a real business. So helping them, I'm saying it's sort of like Jerry is saying, help me help you. So how many? We have 14 companies right now that are either IPO'd, either scaled or profitable, or they're their own culture, meaning physically they pass the thing where I'm actively in a active position. They're already out of they have their own culture and stuff like that. So it's after the POC stage. We usually do the seed round A, round B. So that probably means that are after round B. It doesn't, usually the KPIs are either they have a valuation or profitable. So they're very successful and I'm very proud of them. They're in different niches. We do only things that we understand and have impact on, but they're in diverse businesses, which is cool. It's like good at sports with a different ball. So it's great for us to already say that we methodically did that. And we worked with on the hub itself, 100 or more that about 15 are now in that stage and the rest are not successful and finished off, because we have a PLC strategy that we test the business together, and then we just make the subsidization because we want to actually have impact. So it's not a negotiation, but it's a real test case, because if you understand an entrepreneur is the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur, one of the hardest, is you start with an idea, it's 100% yours. That's it. Now, to make it succeed, you have to give everything away. And it's called, for me, I have a word for it, it's entrepreneurial tragedy, because it's like sad, but if you don't get in love with the potential, the percentile of having a business is higher, and you always have to work on that method. So for us, I found a trick that we do a POC where we say, so let's agree if we have this impact, this valuation, this money, and then we make the deal. So when I say failure, it's either failure that the match wasn't good, or they didn't let go of that potential they didn't agree upon, or it was just a failure. So a lot of POCs through that didn't work.
Interesting. So what happens after that? Like you say, okay, this is not going to work. So what happens to them? What happens to you?
It's the opposite. What didn't happen? What happened is we agreed upon a value as a passive investor on what we invested in, or they have to give it back on something, or let it go as a whole. It's a risk of us. And nothing happened because we didn't formulate that to the deal, and we just let go. So that's the funny thing. They didn't lose anything, okay? And I hope they helped out. And the reason we do that is also not because we're just nice. Just because if it works, then we have a marathon deal because we understand each other, we have trust, we built communication, we know they have impact, no one has to sell. 2, we get to know them, it's easier to diligence. 3, which is the most important thing, this is how we market. You have to understand, to hire an entrepreneur, to work with an entrepreneur, it's not like they're walking. They're always doing something. So either they're in work right now, or they're failing, or they're succeeding, or there's really small moments, because the ones that are a long time in the market, that kind of says something. But there's really small moments when you have that, and we don't like politics. So we want to be enough investor till we go to the next stage. So we don't invest our time always in like pitching, but we invest in time in getting it strong. So we like to be self-reliant. So our marketing strategy is trying to work with them, even if it isn't, because word to mouth, we want to be top of mind. So if we're the approach of the guys that there's no price of just trying, right? Then why not? Okay. And there's a lot of people, I have to say, that because of brutal honesty, they say, no, we can do better, whatever, no. And shamefully, I don't have any ego. And it's even fun not being the mistress, because they do that roundabout and they come back and then they understand that, that's being passive again. They understand that what is true and is not true, what they believe or not. And I didn't have to say, but I'm great because, okay. And there's people who said no, and they did a better deal, which is also fine, because more importantly, I want people to want to work with me. That's instead of going, forcing them, which is less my style, and I'm too Canadian to do that.
Okay. So, yes, you're an enabler. You love to empower people. You help them find what's different, what's unique in them, right? The reason why they do what they do. So, how do you do that? Do you have a certain process, or like take us through like a sneak peek of what will happen if we go to you?
Okay, so I'll do this. Okay, first of all, let's say KPIs for me. It's a community, right? So there's more people like me that are working in this community. For me, there's maybe 3 don't come to me, first of all, which is more important. If you're not optimistic, okay, as a characteristic, I'm not the person to work with. Okay, I don't mind having a lot of problems, but if there's a problem, then we can. If you come with a few solutions, let's say, okay, and they're not good, but you're optimistic and we work together, I can work. I can't be your psychologist because I may need one myself. So physically, I have to work with people. An entrepreneur is someone who has problems all the time, because it's just one big problem. Because if it wasn't a problem, they didn't solve anything. So it starts as a problem. Now, you never have money, you never have this, you're never Nike in the first day, it doesn't matter. So it's a problem. I can't all day give optimism and pick up motivational conversations. I have to have people who believe in what they're doing. Okay, they like the people around them and they're optimists, believe in people. For me, it's a no-go. It doesn't matter what kind of idea I have. 2, I can't work with people who love potential more than they like what they're due, because the idea is I can't say I'm a maximized either guy, but I'm a statistically really big creator of indefinitely. If you have an idea and I'm committed to it, I promise you that I'll work the hardest in the world to have that idea become. And 99% of the time, just because I'm humble, not to say more, it will be that. What happens later, I don't know. I'm very responsible on my word. So on the second note is, if you love potential more than you like a business, go to someone else to maximize the deal. I love what I do and I want the business and I want it to be hold, because at least then I'm standing there proudly because I believe in what I'm doing more than I believe in the business, so I can make another business. So don't get in love in potential. It's hard. 3, I can't work with people who internally oversell. Okay, so like if you don't think you're enough as a human being, okay, I sort of see that on trust, which is sort of the 4th thing. I'm going to add one because there's another thing, accountability more than micromanagement. If you're an entrepreneur, you say you do things. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's in a minute. I don't care now. But you say no if you can't. Say yes. I want to see you try the hardest to do it, and then do it, because I told you a conductor is a stupid man in the stick. I don't care how you look. I don't care how it's done. But if you say it, okay, I don't want to micromanage because then you're a worker. Those are the 4 things. Then what is the process? So the process is this. You pitch the idea. Now, we're not passive investors. I'm not great at passively investing, okay? I'm good at investing in what I know is self-reliantly and worst case scenarios for me. So what in the impact I have. So I hear the idea. I understand that I have, or we have, whoever's there, impact in that specific idea. We sit together after the pitch and we see what kind of strategies and fallbacks and stuff like that to take that DNA and scale. So we know that no one's going to say, or not going to feel that we're just people investing money, because being an investor is really boring. Okay, we want to have impact in that, and we want to like what we're doing. And internally, there's going to be someone like me saying, I'm responsible for that. I can see that there's a problem on the finance or in the automation of the product. I'm great at that. I'm building a plan. I'm going to take that CTO, this is the person who probably did IPOs and exits, that position on the POC station. I need you guys to believe in me, not the entrepreneur, that if I close the deal X, Y, Z, okay, you'll put in this amount, and then self-reliantly, okay, I'll be accountable for the project till it is profitable, till it whatever. And then you're not allowed to take more than 2 projects like that as the community. And then we go to the entrepreneur and we say, listen, first stage POC, we're going to invest. I'm plug numbering here, so don't get it, like $1 million on checking out if this impacts your business, if you like it, okay? This is not the position. We're not going to talk about the potential, but what we are going to say is if it goes to shit, okay, you don't want to do it. How do we manage the out space so we know that how the divorce looks like? And then we say potentially, if it succeeds, if it's doesn't, if it's middle, if it's stuff like anything that's not catastrophe or you not wanting, okay, what's the impact delivery that you would feel convenient with and amount of money as a benchmark? We sign is actually saying we take a mail and say, is that okay if it happens and it's successful and everything and it's your choice and whatever? Then we start working. Then we take that next time, we sit with him, and if we see that the person is, see, this is the problem. I'm going to say this because I'm such a lesson for idiots like me when I was younger and some people that come. If for us to do that, okay, no matter what, he learns, he studies, he does, and stuff like that. If he pivots out or doesn't honestly answer, okay, something close to the idea, and suddenly he says, okay, I have a different, he doesn't say this, but I have a different investor, now I can go to him or whatever, like something like that. Definitively, if we feel the weasel part, we're out. Doesn't matter what he has. And the thing is, because we're very respectful of impact, that we have nothing to prove. We just want to, because we're building trust. Because the thing about entrepreneurs is we're divas. So the thing is, we don't want you to take anything. We like the glam. We want to feel that we own it. We have a grudge or something that we want to make. We feel this pressure that we have to deliver something. It's not even external, it's internal to ourselves. And the thing is, if you don't respect others, respecting that, okay, you don't have the values. So the POC is really important. Okay, forget about the $1 million. Could be 1,000, could be whatever. Depends on the commitment on the other side. But we only talk about the bad experience. Good experiences at the end, where there's no selling. There's talking about truth, flaws and truth. And then when we finish that and we're ongoing, truthfully, we probably hit the KPIs pretty fast because we already proved the DNA. And then it's your company, and we actually become kind of passive, although we hate being passive. So we'll probably help you however possible, because then it starts being fun even more. So that's it, but it's his choice, her choice.
Okay, so tell me, wow, that's a lot. Tell me about the power of community. How has it changed you? How has it changed entrepreneurs?
The thing about the community is not the axis. It's the values and ambiance. And this I can say for sure. There was a time where I was very, I'd say it's this, single, and I didn't own all my confidence. So the glam side was really, really important as a mass community, being a gigantic, whatever known person. There was that time. When I owned it more confidently, then that changed to not spending energy on people, not that they're not important or something, but I have to work very hard because of the chemistry and values to connect with them. And doesn't mean they're not awesome, okay? But it means on the community side, I'll give you an example. If I would be in a community for vegans and I eat meat, and I love the people, it would be really hard for me and I would force it. So the thing about a community is sort of saying like a relationship. What you're looking for is that you don't have to have a lot of effort for people to understand clearly what it is to be part of it. You want to be a part of it because it makes you feel that you have a lot of common denominator, and you're relying on them as a family and a structure of base where if you have to put priorities, the community is about the same values of yourself, meaning your interest, like you're pushing a community because it is your interest. And that is, for me, when I got sort of like that, because there's always problems with that, it's sort of like that because, then it's my friend, it's my, it's hard. So that's why it has to be logical. I have to say the best thing about the community is exactly the last sentence I said. If you get to the interest of pushing the community, which is your interest, meaning I'm proud of it. I'll give you an example. Let's say it's not a community, but Virgin, okay? You're so proud of it. the ROI you get is feedback, not money. But if you get all the interests aligned and you know it's in your ancestors and it's good in your life and you believe in those values, it's not great. It's the most awesomest thing in the world. Okay, because it's impossible to break. Okay, meaning that gives the longevity that I'm useless, I'm in the Bahamas, and it's not a money thing. You know that you can rest a little bit. You know, there's something there that is more valuable than any offering or anything else. And by the way, you know that your stuff is worth something, okay? Because it's worth giving up other things. So that is the great part. And by the way, it markets the hell out of it, because if it's cool, then it's not accessible, okay, which is the hard place to get to. It's amazing.
Okay, so it's really values that you get. Okay, so
remember, I manage these things. What do they get? That's a different question. You remember, I'm over there. I'm like different. I have a job. Those jobs, they get access to communities of people, whoever are the investors themselves. These are people that for sure either went through this exact same thing and succeeded, or the investors or exits that I work with and community and invest with them and stuff like that take active time in that. So they get extremely passionate people that already did successes but don't have ego. They want to work inside those companies and work with these people. For me, it would be, if I was mature enough then, it would be like my end goal, amazing, wow, unbelievable. Secondly, they get all the money for all stages, meaning we're saying it'll be self-reliant till we want to go out or fail. Okay, so they get quietness and they get accessibility to all our network marketing and technology. So that's on their side. And we don't close the deal, okay, until we prove our worth. So it's kind of an easy offering, right? So on that side. Yeah.
Okay. So cool. You also, you wrote an article about the 5 intangible and tangible skills to develop as an entrepreneur. So I'd like you to talk about each of them, like briefly. Can you still remember them? Okay.
I'll say this: intangible tangibles, you can't remember because they're intangible tangible. But I'd rather you choose one or two that I can go through, because I talk a lot.
Okay, sure, I will. Because I also did a poll on LinkedIn and I think you chose empathy. So first, talk to us about empathy.
What?
Empathy. Is important? Yeah. Why is it a good skill to develop for entrepreneurs?
Okay, so this is the thing. Sorry. Let me start on the basis. My basis is this. Concepts in the world are made from simple things and not complicated things, no matter if you're looking at E equals MC squared. So empathy, let's talk about what is the intangible here. Empathy is like a characteristic, right?
Yep.
The thing is, what is empathy as a superpower? Empathy, what it gives you is the perspective, knowing the perspective of someone else, okay? And knowing how to make someone happy, okay? And being sensitive enough to know when all's good is not all's good, and what are you doing that affecting someone else, no matter if it's lending him $2 and the way you lend it. And the idea is, what is the superpower here? The superpower, this position of the person, if he's very empathetic, he either knows how to be beside someone else and empower him, meaning a great coacher, status, supervisor, manager, because he will be a people person. If he's empathetic, he will be great in negotiations, maybe not the closer, but understanding what will work and not work instead of guessing, right? And third, he would be very trustworthy, okay, as a person that is objective to the situation, because empathetic people are very sensitive. So if he's beside that idea, he will know how to translate, not emotionally, those types of things as a consultant. So those tangibles are very unique if you use them and you empower them. And that's actually, if you notice that's what I really believe in. Those empathy is a profession, not a characteristic, and it's not a lawyer, right? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to study law, in my opinion.
Okay. Next is communication. How can you better communication? How can you relate or connect with people?
Okay, communication is a great profession as a characteristic, because again, if I have someone that's very communicative, forget about VPs and schmeepies. What is he doing? One, he knows how to be different in the communication, meaning there are people that like to let's call it chameleon communication. There are people who like to have brief messages, executive summaries. There's people who like the percentile of listening more than talking. There's people who like active communication. There's people who like spicy, like think about a copywriter as a communicator or a PR person. There's a style of communication that if he's good at communication, he can change that, okay, and communicate better. And by the way, put an empathetic person beside a communicator, you have a deal. Okay, because if you think about it, the idea is the communicator, he's saying, listen, I think he's interested in this if he communicates. Because communicate, again, on the psyche side, which is most of relationship, think about saying the wrong thing. Just, the same idea. Like, I'll give you an example. Saying, listen, I know you're cheap, so I'll take you off $100. Okay? Now, the idea is the same thing, right? We know he's cheap. We know the $100 is going to close him. A good communicator would say, listen, me and you, okay, same type, okay? I know that this will cause the dream. I respect it really much. I think you had such a smart idea, take $100 less. Because the communicator would say, I'm going to close this and not make a mistake, right? Because the communication means, it doesn't mean I'm dissing myself. He'll actually like me more, okay? And so it's not an ego thing, and it's going to close the deal. Maybe the first one will, but a good computer will never hack that. So the profession would be actually on that side, it would be anything to do with either people, marketing, and it would be a waste to put it inside a computer, and that's a profession.
Right. Okay. Creativity.
Okay. Creativity, by the way, Albert Einstein said, creativity is our intelligence having fun. So creativity is this for me. Okay. If someone who is creative, most probably he can be an entrepreneur. This is a skill set. The skill set is problem solving. Let's understand this. If you're creative, you find creative solutions or creative ideas or creative differentiations or creative things that are not normal paths. Okay? You're a weirdo, but in a good way. It means you can't take things and think about them differently. Why do you need to shake them up? These are people that are on the vision side. They are people who you need to solve problems when you have those loops. And they forget about how cool it is on the creative side. What it is it happens in any kind of problem solution. And the more they do on width, they have to have a width and a macro level, because the more they do, they can combine and connect things in a better way. So these are people from advisory boards to consultants to entrepreneurs, CEOs, okay? More than I would give it to CTOs and anything else, because if I give a metaphor of a body, then with a heart, if it goes too fast or too slow, you die. So you need someone who doesn't like glam, but every day is in that position, managing CTOs, whatever, CFO. A mind would be the creative side. For me, it would be sometimes you go to sleep, sometimes it's a bad idea. But if you don't have blood, you can't tell the arm to move, okay? So the brain is less important, okay, for just having a business. But if there's a problem, the heart won't help you. So these people are actually those X factor people, okay, which I think is very, as a professional entrepreneur, okay, would be somewhere comfortable, or a external consultant looking on the micro level.
Okay, so is being creative an innate thing, or how do you hone that? How do you become better?
So sorry for marketing my podcast. It's not that. Yours is amazing. I also have one called Real Life Superpowers. And the thing what is annoying to me is I grew up with everybody saying it's complicated and thinking that I'm dumb, because everybody told me that. And the thing is, when you hone it, the most important thing is, first of all, having one person either to believe in it or proving to yourself that it is something. And so knowing you have that characteristic and owning it, that you're a little bit unique better at that specifically, is like 90% of the idea. because people hone things that they think they may have, whatever. And then they go consult with people, and there's 90% are two kinds of consultants. One that gives you advice just to show that he's amazing. And the other one is showing you what to feel for because he doesn't have the guts to do it, she, whatever. And then there's a few good ones. So the thing is this, before honing it, own it. So if you think you have something, just check it out. If you own it, you'll believe in it, you'll focus on it. Trust me, you do not need to hone anything because everybody has a superpower. Collectively, everybody needs one of those unique powers. They all have a place in the world. It doesn't matter what your profession is. So just know what you feel a little more comfortable with. It'll hone itself because you're already better than the other competitors.
Wow, cool. Own it before you hone it. Okay, please invite them on your podcast. Yes, you do have it. Real Life Superpowers podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, and the idea is the same thing. I'm actually, one big loop because at the end of the day, I enjoy and believe in empowerment, and believe it or not, I'm still, especially when I had kids, I'm the thing that I'm most proud of is that I'm doing what I wished I had, okay? And I don't care if someone appreciates it or not, but I really enjoy seeing that I actually own that characteristic and talent, and I'm doing it in the journey and the style where I don't have to do things all day to prove it, and I can be myself. And that's what I really want other people to be, because today with all the things I was there, the Instagram and whatever and stuff like that, it's a lot of work, not me yourself. And it's really convenient to do that. And everybody has that superpower. And that's that podcast. So Real Life Superpowers, we just want to find with incredibly talented, rich, whatever people, not their success and how they did it, but what is their superpower? Maybe you have it as well. And then you know it and you own it till you hone it or whatever.
Yes, would love to listen to that. Yes, the Real Life Superpowers. Thank you very much for your time, Ronen. Awesome.
Thanks. And I think it was long enough so your tree grew.
This podcast is powered by IAMOps.io. Optimize your cloud infrastructure and CI/CD process with IAMOps.io dedicated DevOps team. Check out www.iamops.io and get a DevOps team now. Make sure to check out www.iamops.io if you want to know more about us. Subscribe to our podcast so you can get notified every time we post a new video. Thank you, and you have a great day.